Hey, folks, we are live, but we're just getting ready and setting our um, social medias up. And I just want to give you just a little teaser so that you take some time to share this video. But tonight, it's we're really going to give an sort of a review of what happened um, in the election on Tuesday. So from Virginia to New York, and then right here in Tampa, voters spoke loud and clear. For in Tampa, it was a few months ago, and for others, it was last Tuesday. The experience met energy, and it's where experience met energy, and a new generation of leaders we are finding is stepping forward. So tonight, Mona and I are going to break it down, who won, what it means from last Tuesday, and why this moment matters for Black voters here in Tampa, as we saw that happen here in Tampa, and pretty much across the United States. So stay with us. And the Black Independent pretty much starts right now.
To the Black Independent, where we speak truth to power, unapologetically.
For too long, the black vote has been treated like a given, but we're not property. We're not pawns. We are the descendants of those who built this nation. And now, we're demanding tangibles, not tokenism, because the era of blind loyalty is over. This is the Black Independent. Let's get to work.
Welcome back to the Black Independent. I'm Mona Judge.
And I'm Jeanette Bradley. And tonight we're unpacking last week's elections, the stories behind the headlines and how they point to where our politics is heading next.
Wow. From the governor race, the school board, from Washington all the way right down to Tampa, one thing is clear: the voters are shifting. They're tired of being told what's possible and are demanding something new. Candidates with convictions, not just credentials.
Exactly. And tonight we'll break it into three parts. We're going to look at the national story, the state and the regional trends, and finally, what's shaping up here in Tampa as we move towards 2026. Then we'll close with what this means for Black voters in this moment of opportunity and change. So, y'all, let's start at the top. Virginia, Mona, I tell you, New Jersey and New York, all the eyes were on those states last Tuesday night. Democrats swept the major races. Abigail Spanberger defeating Republican Winsome Sears. Now, if you don't know Winsome Sears, everybody, you just were asleep the whole time. So that's one that I think bears some real discussion. And then there was Mike.
We needed a picture of her, Jeanette. We needed a picture to bring up with her, and it's one particular picture, and I'm just thinking about it.
Uh-huh.
We're gonna let it pass.
Yeah, we're gonna have to let that one pass, but y'all, maybe we'll be able to do it at some other point. Just talk about Winsome Sears and what actually transpired in that particular race. But it is certainly something that people need to be aware of. And then there was Mikey. I want to say Mickey, but Mikey Sherrill.
Yeah.
she held off her GOP challenger, Jack Ciattarelli. I think it's actually pronounced Ciattarelli. That was in New Jersey. And then, of course, Zohran Mamdani, who everybody is really, it's kind of like the Barack Obama thing. It's like, what is that? What is that? And now we've got Zohran Mamdani, who beat former Governor Andrew Cuomo in New York City.
Yeah, very interesting. And the Mickey, it is Mickey. I was hearing a lot about her. I was following that race, and they were following that race, particularly Clay King on Urban View. So it was really, and she won hand down. They all did.
Really did.
They were really worried about that one, and turned out she did very well. So yeah,
she did extremely well. Something's happening. Something's happening.
Something is definitely happening, and that's what's shaking the tables. Young leaders like Mamdani are redefining what leaderships look like. And, you know, he's Muslim, he's South Asian, raised partly in Rwanda, and unapologetic progressive. And yet his message of fairness, housing, transit broke through, even with attacks from both parties. And I mean, he got attacks. It is the strangest thing when he got the Democratic nomination, when you couldn't get Schumer or Jeffrey to immediately come out and support him.
Yeah.
And, you know, Jeffrey kept distancing himself.
I was embarrassed for him.
Yes. And you had to ask yourself, why? Who is behind that?
Yeah.
What was behind it? And you know, the first thing I'm going to go to is AIPAC.
Yeah, I think that's what
the people with the money behind these puppets, I'm going to now call them, because I don't see how either one of them could move forward. I don't see how the people still have confidence in them when this guy is talking everything that every Democrat wants, and they still didn't want to support him, even when the citizens had made their views known by voting for him. It's the craziest thing, including Jewish voters was standing with him. That said a lot about where we're heading.
It says a lot. So I do have a clip for Mamdani on his election night. So I'm going to go ahead and play that.
Okay.
One second.
It's all smiles, emotional embraces, and joy here at Zohran Mamdani's victory party.
We have toppled a political dynasty.
He's gone from a long shot candidate to a national figure in a matter of months, and making history too. He will be the city's first Muslim and South Asian mayor.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
He's run a masterful campaign, one that tapped into real fears about affordability and energized Democratic voters desperate for new energy to combat President Trump.
After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him.
The city got record voter turnout not seen in decades. The 34-year-old will now have to prove he's just as equipped to govern.
We will usher in a city government that helps everyone.
It's no easy task given the big promises he's made that will require state lawmakers to fund his agenda. He will face intense scrutiny from establishment Democrats who think he's too far left, and intense opposition from President Donald Trump, who has called him a communist and is already threatening to cut federal funding to New York.
I tell you,
it was powerful.
It really was powerful. I think it was a powerful night for him. But you know, it's proof that
other property insurers see only risk.
Sorry about that.
We see.
turn it off. All right, I got it. Um, but it's proof that when candidates speak directly to the people issues, housing, wages, safety, that noise just fades away. It's that, and that's a lesson I think everybody is looking for ahead in 2026. They're going to be looking for authentic, back to a conversation we had a while ago. They're going to be looking for those authentic candidates. So I think
So
we're.
let me ask you this. Do you think that the Republicans gave them some ammunition to move the people that way with the shutdown going on, SNAP happening, Donald Trump not lowering the cost of things that he said that he was going to do? Do you think that helped as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's going to continue to help. And I think I think what Trump is doing has so much, it's resonating so much so with people that even he has said, I don't know if you saw it today, he has pretty much said $2,000 for everybody. So he's looking at giving a $2,000, I don't know, stipend to everybody that is not wealthy or rich. And we don't know what the cutoff is going to be, but you can tell he's feeling very, very uncomfortable as he is also realizing that, guess what? All people on food stamps are not necessarily Black. He is starting to see a lot of white people, his voters, in those food lines. And I think he's getting.
Did his handlers not tell him that? Did the
You can't tell
Republicans in the red states did not, and did this man not know? Come on, he had to know. He did.
My guess is they told him, but when it didn't register with him or he shut it down, they quickly retreat, and it's as if he gets only or lets in only the information that he wants to hear, and he doesn't necessarily listen to them. So perhaps they tried to tell him that 17 million white people are under the poverty line, but I don't think he listened, and he needed to see it. And I think that's one of the things that, to answer your question, I believe that it resonated well with people because it's starting to hit home. It is starting, and you're talking New York. You're not talking Tampa, Florida, or you're not talking Melbourne, Florida. You're talking New York, and those people spoke against all of that pressure, not just the Republicans, but also the Democrats were putting on that man.
Sure.
So I think we're in an age where voters reward connection over convention. He will be the one to watch, in my opinion, over the next year. If he succeeds against a machine in New York, I think on a world stage, we're going to actually see the game start changing.
Sure.
But he has to be successful before that midterm election come in. If as he is successful, you're going to see more and more people jump on that bandwagon.
Absolutely. If he's able to do half of what he said he wants to do before 2026, yeah, it's going to be, I believe, all over for the Republican. Those states and regional races that quietly reveal where the country move is heading.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, Democrats expand their control over the state Supreme Court there. That was huge. And in Ohio, now that's going to be interesting because you see what's happening. And I'm going to jump off something with Indians, Republicans, Native Republicans. You know, who is that who want to run for governor of Ohio? It ain't going to happen. Yvette Ramaswamy, yes.
Oh my God, Vivek.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, let me repeat what you
Going
said.
in people and
Let me just repeat what you said. That is not going to happen.
it's not going to happen.
Okay.
I did some researching when I was looking it up, and Ohio is 68% white and
Mhm.
Christian. And he is finna get his wake up call. As he's already getting, he is
Yeah, I was
going
gonna say he's gonna get his third wake up call.
yes, yes. and it's going to be funny because these people think they can sit around and bash for the Republican Party, the
Mhm.
Black community, and think that's going to give them a leeway
Yeah.
into white society. Um, they're all finna find out.
They're all they're
Nikki
finding out.
Haley, all of them. It's that one's going to be interesting. So right now, I don't really know who else is want to run for governor, but it damn sure ain't going to be him.
It's not
Um,
gonna be him.
yeah,
And they're telling him to his face.
I'm telling him to his face. I mean, as you see what is happening with Tucker Carlson, Nick, Ben Shapiro, all this infighting they having right now,
Mhm.
they're going to destroy from the inside out.
Yay. Sorry, that was my quiet
Yes.
celebration.
Yes, yes. Well, we kind of knew that. We even said that. I said this guy's going to last long. Even the vice president, JD Vance, and they are laying in on his wife.
Oh.
I'm going to predict that this guy, if he wants to run for president, he's going to have to divorce his wife.
Oh my God.
He's
Oh my
they're
God.
not going to allow that.
I know
She-
that I'm hearing that. I'm hearing that, but
Mhm.
I have to believe that he will not do that.
Mm. He
I
has,
think you are right. I think you are right.
in my opinion, he has no really conviction. He was bought.
That's yeah,
He
yeah.
could be bought to do. People want power.
Oh
And
my
he could
God.
be bought to go the other way as well. And
What that will say about white men and power, that will say everything we need to know about white men and power. That's it.
sure.
That would be the ultimate betrayal of
And
democracy, is his willingness to give up his marriage, and I would say by extension his children who are half Indian.
And I was going to say he would have to divorce his kids. Can you imagine that? Because he would have to, because they're never going to support him. You have
They're
an
never
Indian
going to
wife,
support that.
Indian children is what Nick is saying. The hard right is never going to go for it.
Yeah. You know, okay, we're talking about the Indian children, but you know, Clarence Thomas never had kids.
Mhm.
I'm
Thank
trying to
God.
think of Black leaders that have children. And do you think that
The guy that's running for governor in
so do you think that Byron Donaldson's going to get to be governor, given that he has kids that are Black?
no.
Curious because this whole effort to whiten America has to do with actually this has been predicted that that America would become brown,
Right.
not Black, not white, but because of the mixing of the races, that eventually over time it would become brown. So it's the browning of America that is happening, but it is also what they want to stop. They're not really able to stop because their children are mating with our children.
Yeah.
And because we are, I'm going to say the dominant race, and I'm going to say the dominant race when it comes to reproduction, they're not able to stop it.
If you look at JD Vance kids,
Mm-hmm.
they don't look mixed. They look like their mother. You could tell she has the stronger genes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think the closer we were to Africa
Mhm.
and those other races, as people migrated out of Africa to, let's say, the Ice Age, and you were freezing, and all of a sudden you came back white. I think that the less dominant your genes were,
Yes.
and you can't produce anything other than a white child. And if the majority of people, the global majority, let's say, is black and brown, you are on the losing end of this,
Sure.
especially as the world becomes more globalized and people are mixing. Period. Oh my gosh.
So in Ohio, on the ballot was the reproduction rights,
Hmm.
and so it's the second time they've done it in a year. What do you think about that? And
Yeah.
do you think that is an issue that the Democrat need to maybe let go or still keep it at the front? Because the front for with Harris, that's all she talked about, and I was like, yeah, we got bigger issues than that.
Yeah, we thought it was a winning issue at the time. I don't necessarily think it remains the winning issue. So the fact that Ohio once again passed reproductive rights, that's great. That's
Mhm.
just icing on the cake, but it is not the cake. I
Right.
think we need to focus on more cake issues. And I think that's what's really happening. But it's always nice to hear that a group in a red state has yet again, prevailed on reproductive issues. But okay, that's not going to become a national focus.
Right, because I think if we get the power back, they could reverse some of these things, and
Exactly.
that definitely, in my opinion, don't need to be. We don't really need to be talking about that or a lot of the trans issues.
That is true. And I don't think we focus necessarily on the trans issues, but the Republicans are clever
Mhm.
and they focused on that for us where it had to become a part of our discussion, but it was never our focus. It was them deciding to create another culture war issue that we would eventually be on the losing side of. And I think
Right.
that's what happened there. So those races were, it was nice to sit through results or wake up the next morning and look at results and say, wow, Democrats really cleaned house.
A blue wave, as they were calling it.
It's a blue wave.
It was a blue wave.
It was more than anything else, it was a sign of what could be.
Mhm.
Um, if people would get out and vote, because their voting numbers was pretty high. Yeah,
Sure.
those people
They
really
said the
did
one
get
in
out.
New York was the highest they'd had. I can't remember exactly, but that mean almost 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah, it was
The highest
really,
voter turnout.
it was really, 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 it was crazy.
Yes.
And that should have said a lot to Schumer and Jeffries and the
Yeah.
old guard, if you will.
Yeah.
And
I
I
got
don't necessarily think Jeffries is the old guard, but there's something
yeah,
wrong with how
he's
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 functioning.
been in politics a long time, and when we pull his record
True.
and see what he's produced, nothing. Literally, literally nothing. I don't know, and
How did he become speaker? He's speaker. How did he become speaker?
it was popular. They had, I believe, they just had to do it to motivate blacks after Pelosi retired.
Well, here's one thing that I will say, and Democrats really need to understand that all Black folks don't speak for all
Sure,
Black folks,
it was a
and
symbol, and we got to,
Black
and
folks,
we don't want symbolism anymore because I mean,
right?
he doesn't stand up for really anything fighting for the people. He is doing the will of
Okay,
Israel.
okay, but he's doing something. It's just not what Black folks are looking for now.
You know what the Democratic Party is looking for either. Not just black folks, the Democratic Party as a whole. People are very unhappy with him. Now you got the traditional Democrats, I mean, traditional Democratic Party who's in line with what he's doing, but they're all paid by APAC. So they're all pushing that agenda.
So I guess I'm trying to get to the point that you are kind of making for me. He is not our lawmaker. He's not our senator. He
No.
belongs to whoever the highest bidder was that
Yes.
got him into the seat. He has always been very loyal, but he is not by himself.
No.
In what I think we may have discussed before, AIPAC actually focuses on the Black Caucus,
Mhm.
and they make sure that they have their tentacles in those lawmakers.
Sure.
So what we think are our lawmakers, yeah, they're going to go and represent Black folks, and here's what we want, and blah blah blah. And I used to say, well, we just don't know what we want. We're not asking. We don't
Mhm.
have to ask. They're not going to pick it up anyway, because they get their marching orders from AIPAC, who put
And not only that, we have
built the
asked.
Black Caucus themselves. They built that Black Caucus. Go ahead.
We have asked, and we've had people like him, the guy from North Carolina, saying, hold on, the time isn't now. It's not the right time. We got to do this. We have to wait on this. We have asked, but we didn't realize we was up against a brick wall. Now that we know this,
Right.
we're going to move different. And the people are moving different.
But now that you know this, what you don't have is the dollars that they have that gets them into the seat. What you do have is the vote, because
Yes.
the dollars are supposed to get the votes for you. So I'm saying to Black people, you don't have the money. You can't match AIPAC. You can't match these big dollar donors. But what you do have is the ability to organize and to vote. And if that's the only way that we're going to overcome that, so that our candidates cannot be primaried by AIPAC in this case.
Well, we just saw Tuesday. We just saw November the 4th, where money did not outvote the people.
Exactly. So
So-
there's an example of that.
Hmm.
Truly an example. If the person is saying the things that resonate with you,
Absolutely.
no
Absolutely.
matter what they say, because they really went after Mondami.
Yep.
I mean, Muslim, that used to scare people, doesn't
Yep.
scare people anymore. They
Nope.
they used it and it did not scare people away. They talked about all kinds of, he's not going to be able to do it, or the big corporations, the owners, I'm going to leave and take my business elsewhere. Take
And
your
know
business.
damn well they ain't gonna leave.
And the people said, not our
Go.
problem.
Yeah,
Not our
go. Bye. They said
Bye.
bye.
Bye,
Yes.
Felicia.
Yes.
So if we understand that as Black people, whether you're Democrat or independent, if we understand that, and we can get a candidate who actually speaks to our issues, and we do not break apart, and we go to those polls and we support them no matter what, there's no dollars in the world that can beat that, because that's what the dollars are for, is to
Sure.
convince you not to vote or to vote. If the candidate doesn't need that, then, that's what happened with Trump.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what just happened with Mondami. But
Yeah.
voters are the ones who have to decide, and we cannot be swayed just because somebody is throwing darts, if you will, at the candidate of your choice. So we have to be more intentional, I think, about what it is that we're doing.
Well, I think people are waking up, fear tactic, usually, particularly Blacks. I'm not quite sure about anybody else. Most times we are voting out of fear. They're gonna do this. They're gonna take your
Oh, no.
voting rights away.
Oh,
We're gonna-
no.
You know,
Yeah.
so I think those days are over.
You think? You
I'm
think
hoping. I'm hoping so because look, they put when Mondani was running, they started talking about 9/11. They started talking about the Muslims was going to come and kill everybody, and all of this
they
just
had videos, they had
evil,
AI.
yeah, just evil stuff. And I can remember when George Bush first was running.
Mm-hmm.
I think when he first ran, and I just say that because Dick Cheney just passed, and we will maybe because we're in Trump area, but I remember when Dick Cheney was the vice president. This man did some evil, crazy,
Dick
sadistic
Cheney,
stuff.
evil.
Yes,
Dick Cheney, evil. I agree with that.
yes. And I said, look, and that was one of the reasons why I couldn't understand how Harris was trying to convince his daughter to move to the middle. People just wasn't going to go for that because I mean we cannot forget how 9/11, how we started the Iraq War, all of that, how that started, how when all that started is I'm saying led us to someone like Trump. When
Yeah.
he used to say, hey, we need to have executive powers. We forget that he wanted not to go through the proper channels to do things. Um, you remember when they were doing the war, they came back and said how they were treating the captures, waterboarding, and all of this evil stuff.
Right.
Same thing they're doing in Gaza.
Yeah.
This stuff it's in these people, and people are tired of it now.
It's in these people. But I don't, someday I hope that we all understand what that means. It's in these people.
Republic.
Same thing with Black people. It's in us as a people to tend to do these kind of things versus what they do, which is which are these types of things. I think that's going to become more clear, and I'm thankful, and I have to give a shout out to Brenda Allen.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for the whole Mahat Sankofa learning that she does once a month. I just started that last month. I will be there again this month. I cannot wait to sit and listen and start the history back from like, I think we were, maybe it's around 800 BC. You can see, once you understand that, you can see the evil versus the good and how that has permeated throughout history and how you can distinctively see Africa versus the West and where the strategies or the temperament must have come from. It's just amazing. So shout out to Alan. Awesome.
It is quite amazing. I often say that as Black people, once we got to these shores, we've learned God history, right? The Bible, history of the Bible, God, which is fine. But we have to also understand our history. And that is what she is doing, and seeing where it aligns and where it doesn't. And her class is, I know it's on Monday. What Monday is it?
It's the fourth Monday.
So it's the fourth Monday of every month. Okay.
Right.
I wish you could do it online as well because it's in the city, correct?
It is in the city. It's right off 34th and
Hannah. Yes.
Yeah, 34th and Hannah. I forget the name of the facility, but
we'll find it and put it in the description.
Yeah, but
I know I get there, but I don't know the name of it either.
But when you talked about Cheney and you said evil, and it's kind of like he was so evil that it just seemed innate. It seemed like he was born with it. And then when you look at Trump, he's so evil, it seems like it's innate. It's as if he was born with it.
the bloodline. And I remember when he died, I heard it on my way going to work, and they read a statement from his daughter, and I said to myself,
Mhm.
Mm-mm. They were celebrating, and I'm sure that's how they felt, the
Of
family.
course. Yep.
Yes, yes, that he lived a great life. He did some great things. I can't name one great thing that that man did,
Mhm.
and I'm sure he probably. No, I'm not going to say I'm sure he probably did, because the first thing came to me saying, "Damn, he going straight to hell if there's a heaven and hell. He will be in hell. He is one that will be in hell."
It was that bad, huh? It was
Oh,
that bad.
he does some evil, um, just yes, he is
Yeah,
that bad. He was that bad.
I
That's
would agree.
Satan,
That was bad.
Satan's son, grandson. Yes.
He was.
So, and they worried about, Mondami. I said, hey, we need to try something different because America isn't working. And why can't America work for everyone?
Because that's not what America was based on, because the people who
It is what it
started,
was based on when they left England.
it was based on it. America is based on hate and war and taking things and lying, because that's what they came here and did with the Indians. And it was
Yes.
just, it was cruelty, it was all of that. And then when they realized that they didn't have the wherewithal to really work this land, they went another step, and out of cruelty, they brought Black folks over. And, I can't wait to learn exactly why did they choose Black people. And again, the history would tell you why they decided that Black people needed to come over and create this country, if you will, because we have created countries before.
Right.
We've
Right.
created civilizations before. We have farmed lands successfully. All of these things, they knew that that's where the talent was. So, I'm
So we can
just,
definitely say they didn't plan that out right because they brought us over to lay the foundation, right? Because I
when they
in math,
figured they couldn't do it and the Indians weren't going to do it. Couldn't do it
yeah,
either because they were dying of famine and whatever else, other diseases that the white man brought to this land.
sure. And
Um,
maybe they should have said, "Hey, we need to put them all back on ships and send them back," but they didn't plan that one out right.
they needed us, but by the time
Well,
we
by the
were,
time the foundation and everything got done, and then other immigrants
they
came in.
wanted to send us back.
Mondani said that immigrants built this country. Yeah, part of that is true, but slaves build the foundation.
Well, then you get into the question: aren't slaves immigrants?
No, we're
That's
not immigrants because
that's a question that needs
no, we're
that.
not. We can't be immigrants because immigrants came here. We was brought here.
Oh, the
We was
difference is
captured.
king
So
versus
we're not
brought.
immigrants. I'm
The
sorry.
difference is the difference is how we got here.
Yes, in my opinion.
Okay, and many people share that opinion. I think that some also say, before I say what I think, some also say that we're actually natives.
I'm sure some of us was here. I'm sure it was blacks here, some Africans here. Yes, I mean we was everywhere. We was first on the earth.
But the nativity comes from the fact that we don't know when we left Africa, it was a continent and it probably didn't have the name Africa, but we don't know, we don't have a country that we can attach to except this one.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And as a result, this is all we know, and therefore we are as native as, I don't know, I don't want to say the indigenous peoples, or the Indians, but that's a debate, and that's something we can certainly find somebody who is an expert on that and talk about it, because I think that's going to be really important, especially as we are successful in the elections, the next two election cycles, and we begin really exploring things like reparations and those type things, because I think that the world has to be reckoned, has a reckoning with Black votes everywhere, the world, not just this country.
Absolutely.
So we digress significantly.
Yes. So
So where are we?
at a local level, let's go there. That was
Okay.
a real shift across the nation. Nearly 40 Moms for Liberty fight the school board candidate lost. How about that?
Yeah, it was.
And these Moms for Liberty, when they first came on our radar, was probably about maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, right wing, batshit nuts.
So their focus really is to get on those school boards and to just totally take it over. But we already know that they're the ones with the book banning and all the other shenanigans that are going on in school that's really shifting what we can and cannot say in school. And it's so dangerous. There's such a menace that you've got teachers afraid to speak up about anything, if you will.
Yeah.
Stop.
You know that when you look at it and when you think about it, and when I first start meeting them, of course, we didn't know about Project 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the Republicans men started these Mom for Liberty groups,
Mm-hmm.
they already knew what their assignment was to do, to come in, disrupt the school system,
Yep.
per Project 2025. And we didn't connect it till we start reading Project 2025, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, the light bulb went off, and I says, oh yeah, everything they're saying and doing is in Project 2025.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's another issue I have, because you're telling me no Democrat had any idea about Project 2025, didn't know, hadn't seen the manuscript, didn't know what they were doing. It's hard for me to believe that.
I think they do talk in those back rooms and back channels.
Mhm.
And the Project 2025 was not really a secret. It was a secret to us. We didn't
Right.
know about it, but they all knew. They all knew
And
that.
that's what I'm saying. How could the Democrat Party know that they had this assignment that they have been trying to execute, I believe now since 1980, something like that?
Well, Ronald Reagan also got a Heritage Foundation blueprint. That's what I'm just going to call it at this point.
Mhm.
And he did implement some of what was there. I think
Yeah.
some say around 60%. But there were limits, and they couldn't. He didn't even want to implement all of it. And everybody knows, excuse me, it has been said, and I agree, that Reagan was a racist.
Yes.
So
Are you apologizing for that? Is that what you said? Excuse me for?
I'm just saying, excuse me to those who might feel that I'm being a little forward, but it's common knowledge that
It's not what
he
you're saying, it's
was
what
a
the people
racist.
said. But we
Right.
know that he was.
Just based on his policies and based
Yeah.
on the things that he said. So they then lay latent for years and found that next. Now notice, Reagan comes from the entertainment industry, right?
Yeah. They
Trump
like a good-looking man that could, because Bush couldn't do it.
comes from the entertainment industry. And
Mhm.
he became the Trojan horse for the Project 2025,
Mhm.
for the Heritage Foundation. And they look for that right person that they think can implement it. And look a gift horse in the mouth, definitely. Um, Trump is a gift horse to Project 2025, the Heritage Foundation, the Republican Party. And they all understand it. That's why you see the Congress sort of just sitting back and allowing things to occur because they are all in on it. They all understand exactly what is happening. They've been planning this for more than 50 years.
It's as if they give them the playbook, and I mean, from state to state, they're all following it.
Hmm. It's a powerful movement.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
extremely powerful. But it's and the education, if we can get back to even to the role that the Moms for Liberty plays, they know that education has been the testing ground for ideology, and what we're seeing now is voters choosing competence over chaos. They know that the education piece is that important, but
Mhm.
finally because Moms for Liberty, they actually, and there's conflicting data out there. One says they lost all the seats. Well, they didn't lose all of the seats. They did win about 12 of perhaps the 31 some odd seats. But they won a lot of the seats in the past, but we're starting to see it slow down, and that voters are now choosing competence over the chaos. They're getting tired of the chaos.
Sure.
So we're done with the fear-based leadership, and and that energy is going to spill over, I think, into the 2026 bigger contest. We have to keep it out front and point out their chaos, so that when it comes time to vote, people are voting not out of fear, but out of informed.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, it was quiet but powerful movement. Education,
Hmm.
politics has been a testing ground for their ideological. And when I think even now at the Charlie Kirk's death, where they're saying not only do they want turning point in the colleges, they're now
Hmm.
trying to put this into our school system, and I say no. I just think that would be terrible, particularly if we as Democrats and Black don't have something to counter that. We should have an NAACP office in every high school. I'm sure they have them on most HBC campus.
I think they do.
But if we're going to do that, we tend to let these people do these things, and we have nothing to counter it or nothing to push back or fight against it, because we know that the average Black Christian do not think like these nationals, Catholics. We just don't think like them, and I don't
Well,
even think we're
again,
worshiping the same
again,
God.
there's a reason why we don't think that way, and they think this other way that is evil, if you will. But
Mhm.
there's a reason for that, and it's historical.
And
You
it's
keep
total
saying it.
control is what they're
You keep
teaching their children. They want total control. They want to be the master over. They want to be the dominant race,
right.
and they
They
want to.
they,
They
they
are the
want
dominant race, but they want to continue to be the dominant race, and they teaching their children this at such an early age. And we aren't teaching our kids this, and we're allowing for our kids to learn this stuff in school, that you are beneath them.
yeah.
You're
They
so
want to be the
certain.
dominant race, but the only way that they know to become that dominant race in this country, because they know they're not the global majority, but in this country, they want to have a country that they can call their own. And that's the America is their country as far as they're concerned. That's why they believe their ancestors came here.
Mhm.
Um, but the only way that they can hold on to it, the only way they got it and can hold on to it is through violence.
Yes.
And that's the key. And if we look at the white race through history, violence has been the hallmark of how they move. It is not the hallmark of how we move, but it is definitely, you can see, you can track it. And violence, I mean, the fact that we're having the guns, the
Yeah.
gun violence, and you mentioned somebody, you know, got shot just going up to the house.
Yeah.
A housekeeper got shot. It's what they do.
And then for them, they have all the guns and all the power. Why are they so afraid, and what they're so afraid of? Yeah,
Losing dominance,
I
losing
was just reading
power.
on Facebook, and I saw this article where a housekeeper went to the wrong house, 7 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
they
you
shot
sounded
her on the front porch. I'm like, wow. And the police chief says we have to see how, if the homeowner would be charged, because it might be the castle rule. And I'm like, yeah, he wasn't protecting his castle if she's on the opposite side of the door. The door is closed and she's not inside the house. That can't be a castle rule. But it is going to be interesting. It's going to depend on a lot of factors. If it was a housekeeper, it probably was in an affluent neighborhood. So yeah, poor thing. But
Yeah,
look,
I think
I
it's
think
sad, but the
it's
more
sad.
we're gonna see more and more of these accidental
Yeah. Well,
shootings.
it's not an accident. That wasn't an
I know,
accident.
that's why I did the little quotation marks, because what are they gonna, what's the defense there? You know, what is the defense? Castle rule, I heard you say that, but truly, what is the defense?
And you
Uh,
definitely can't say you feared the person because you were behind a locked door.
it was a
So
housekeeper at the wrong house, you say?
she was at the wrong house.
And she just happened to be black or brown?
I think she was brown, Guatemala. I
Okay.
think that's what it said. Yeah.
Yeah. But what do they have to fear? They fear black and brown people because we are the majority. And for whatever reason, this country is inciting the fear um, and trying to make them afraid of us so that we can do exactly what's happening, have some kind of war on the streets. So we just have to understand what's happening. But you know what? Let's bring it
Yeah,
home.
I think I'm hoping that we're seeing now that voters are going to start choosing competence over chaos. Because if we think about it, the Republican Party in the last 2 or 3 elections, that's what they have done, created chaos. We got to be done with the fear-based leadership, and that
Yeah.
energy, should spill over into the 2026 bigger contest, and that'll be able to tell us how we will move in 2028.
Right, but we saw in New York that those voters got over the fear-based.
Sure, sure,
They,
yeah,
they decided, with all of the fear-mongering that was going on, they were going to vote for Mondami anyway.
absolutely.
That is going to be, I can't wait to see what we do in the midterms.
And
Um,
it should have even been greater because, as we know in New York, it's going to be interesting. We got to pull the data. I would say still about 30%, if not more, Black people didn't vote for him.
Cuomo, voted for Cuomo.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would be interested in seeing the data as well. But you just had a real variety of people that voted for him that took him over,
Yeah.
and I think that's a testament to him. Sometimes, though, black people are so entrenched. I mean, yes, Cuomo didn't have the D next to his name, but they were listening to the fear mongering.
Oh,
And
they didn't care
well,
what he had next to his name. They still see him
did
as
not
a
care.
Democrat.
They still see him as, because you didn't have Schumer and Jeffries really going in saying, hey.
Right.
So
Right. And pushing these people to vote out of fear still and against their best interests.
yeah, that's true.
All to line their pockets and to push someone else's agenda. And I want to get in, we're going to do something about different type of Negroes. We're going to do a podcast on that because
Oh, that would be
it
so
falls
good.
into a category of a typical Negro.
That would be really good. That would be
Figure out which category it is. I'm not going to call him a coon or a house Negro, but he is something. And we have to understand put these people in the category and say you don't represent us anymore. Because he's not representing us.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we need to do that well before the next election, so that folks are able to recognize what they're seeing and what they're hearing. So let's go local.
Okay.
So at the local level, there's a real shift. We saw it. And across the nation, the majority of Moms for Liberty school board candidates, they lost. The voters, parents and educators alike, are rejecting political culture wars in classrooms in places like Texas, Pennsylvania, and Florida suburbs. They voted for moderation and a return to the basics, reading, math, and preparing kids for the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And with all 7 seats?
Right, but that movement is so quiet. Moms for Liberty running for the school boards, some people don't, because it's nonpartisan. You don't really notice it unless you're paying attention. And all you know is this is a nice little white woman. And on occasion, you see a little Black woman or a little Hispanic woman. And they're just sort of just moving without any major fanfare.
Let me ask you this. How is it when you say, particularly here in Tampa, school board is nonpartisan?
Yeah.
And so is the city council seat. But I noticed that Angela Birdsong, the Black Caucus, right? President of the Black Caucus.
Right.
I don't know if I noticed her saying when it was time for us to vote for school board, if she was identifying who was Democrat and who was Republican. But that became a huge issue in District 5 for her. She made it her mission
to tell us who was who, Democrat or Republican.
Yeah, to say that to point out the
Naya was, not Naya, but
Republican candidates in District 5, to point out the candidates in District 5.
Yep, she did make it her mission.
Oh, she made it her mission to. I had to block her, and I probably unblock her because I haven't seen any of her stuff. And I remember saying, "Hey, stop posting on my post," but she didn't heed to it. Then I was like, "All right." So to save grace or whatever, I just end up blocking her. But yeah. But it would be nice. But I guess if people want to know, I don't have an issue with it. But I just noticed that I don't think she did that because 2 of the Republicans that was on school board, that was in the race, we didn't know that they were Republicans. Even for judges, they won't tell us. And if the Black Caucus is going to do this, she should be able to tell us who is judges if we want to be aware are any of these candidates who we're voting for.
So while it was not maybe a major issue to most of us in the past, it's always, I think Republicans always keep their keep that knowledge and make sure that they're, squeezing their getting their candidates through.
Sure.
Democrats, however, don't pay attention to the details, and the devil is always in the detail.
Mhm.
So I think that going forward, we must know these things. You can
Sure.
call it a nonpartisan race if you want to, but if the school board goes completely Republican, nonpartisan, but Republican, that is bad news for our children. It
Absolutely.
is very bad news for our children. The judges, I think it is very important to go on to those sites that give the history of judges, look at who's appointed them, and when it's their time to come up for renewal, look at that data, because it doesn't necessarily tell you there either. But if George W. Bush appointed you, it is likely that you are Republican, and you should get a no from me as a judge. So we have to do the research ourselves, because the Republicans know that this is a wonderful way to get their judges through if Democrats can't tell the difference,
Mhm.
and school board members through.
Yeah, and I think it's quite important for us, and we're going to do a show probably the first of the year with these judges, particularly since the Supreme Court is now stacked Republican, that we cannot have state courts stacked against us as well,
Yeah.
and our federal courts as well. So we're going to have to really be digging and see who is a part of the Federal Society.
Got to do the digging.
There's no need for us to vote them in, and then when it's time for them to be appointed by a Republican governor. I mean, we're just up for a loss if you got to face the courts.
Yeah, yeah. So you bring up a good point. I just think that going forward, we need to be more diligent in our search for who's who.
It's hard to find that out with the judges, but we're going to really have to do the research. ADOS probably can help us out with that as well.
Mhm.
Florida Rising. So, yeah, and look like I'm going to put it out there. Angela Birdsong should be digging into that.
I think the Black Caucus doing that kind of homework and getting it out to the public, the way
Mhm.
she did during the D5 race, Tampa City Council.
Absolutely.
She made sure we knew who
Yes.
was a Republican, who wasn't. So
Right.
she does that so well. We're
Yeah.
giving her that job. She gets that job for the judges and the other nonpartisan races.
Hands down, she is she's good and she's on point. I mean, hey, I really don't have an issue with her doing it, but
I had an issue with her doing
we'll
the
see.
race.
We'll call her up and see if she could help us with that, because I think I really do think it's important to know. Coming up on some of these things when we've been looking back with the judges and some of the rulings, and they'll say, "Oh, this judge was appointed, by Bush." So some of them are good, but they all have an assignment and they have to follow.
Some of them are good. Some of them may be your friend, but in this political climate,
Yes.
if they're following marching orders, it matters not that you are my friend. You're following marching orders that go counter to me. I feel the same way about some of my friends who voted MAGA. I didn't say Republican, who voted MAGA.
Right.
Voting MAGA tells me something about you and how you feel about my rights as an African American, but also as a woman. So
just as a human, like
yeah.
we could have Republican friends, but yes, those MAGA Republicans, it is something in you that don't align with me.
And I'm saying that to people who you may like hang out with, that I truly believe um, there's a contradiction there that needs to be dealt with, especially as we go into these future races.
Absolutely.
We have to be able to draw the line in the sand and be very clear on what it is that we're looking for. But you know what? I really want to bring it home. And we look back at District 5, where we had the election, where Naya made her own ripples.
Yes.
That I think is sort of a bellwether for what we could look for, not just here locally in our future races in the midterms next year, but it could be on a national level, because we did see it in New York, where young, and I'm going to stop using the word young, energetic, almost unknowns are unseating the more experienced knowns, if you will. So her win just to me wasn't a local upset. When I saw it, and I had to sit back that night, and I took a deep breath to say, wow, that just happened, right?
Yes.
And I ain't mad at it,
Sure.
but at the same time, I'm like, that just happened. What is that telling us as Black people? What does that tell us in terms of the possibilities for unseating established individuals? So I think it was more of a sign of what's coming. And I think that's what we need to start paying attention to. She is young and she does speak up. And she did address the community issues in her campaign, like the things that were important to us, to people, to voters: housing, jobs, and neighborhood investment. And to your point earlier, yes, what the president is doing now, his policies are creating that motivation for a lot of folks who ordinarily would not vote to get up and get out and vote. And we saw that in that 5,414. See, Robin, I got it. That came out and voted in a runoff election, which is unheard of, which matched the numbers, if not surpassed the numbers in the actual election.
Yeah, I think so. And look, something you said, younger gets experience. It is true.
Energy.
Energy, yes. New energy, yes. Because experience, if you're not producing and the community isn't seeing a change, I don't think it. Well, we saw evidence that it is not going to work. People want change. People want to see a difference. So, and particularly, it's going to be interesting for us here in Tampa, because I believe all 7 city council seats, the mayor office, county commission seats, are going to be open in 2026, right? So Tampa politics field is going to be wide open. And I know a few people that is running for, showing interest in running for mayor, the county commissions. Some are seasoned names, some are new faces, some are activists, educators, small business owners. So it's going to be interesting.
I think it is.
Especially within the Democratic Party, and how we're going to see if we're going to stay on that track that we want new energy, because you said not young, but new energy versus the establishment.
Versus the new energy with new visions, and where they really become a voice of the people. They need to become the voice of the people. And
so how do they become the voice of the people? Because let's take District District 3.
Yeah,
Gwen
I'm-
Myers. Gwen
I'm gonna
Myers.
I'm going to add this to the stage because I didn't when I was talking about it. And I
Okay.
really want people to understand it was a sea change. And that's what we saw, I think, in the races of last Tuesday,
Mhm.
where the energetic newcomer comes and overtakes the establishment. And I think that's just something that we need to take as a lesson learned of how do we repeat this more so than not. And again, the numbers that came out to vote in a runoff election was pretty much for D5, especially for D5 Tampa City Council, was pretty much unheard of. So I think it's just something that we absolutely need to pay attention to.
Mhm.
You
I-
asked me.
Yeah, I asked you a question, but now I forgot. I think it was something about District 3,
Three.
Gwen Myers versus the newcomer, Quentin Robinson.
Well, I got something on that too. So I went to see actually who has filed to run, and lo and behold, Gwen Myers, of course, the incumbent, but she's being challenged by another newcomer, and I'm going to call him a newcomer, although he has run for office before.
Yes.
He has never held office, I don't believe, but he has run, and he is that. This is a great example of experience versus energy, once again. So I still didn't answer your question, or I haven't even listened to what the question is, but I think you just bring up another great example of the Black community, again, needing to make a decision about what it is that they want and who, in fact, they believe can deliver.
Mhm. Do we think she has delivered?
Well, the one thing that I will say that I'm aware of is the cultural center
Yes.
and the recent vote, the recent challenge to the cultural center and the vote to stay the course and create that. Now, some will say, well, is that really what we need, or are there other things that we could use?
I don't like when we have to say, particularly for African Americans, that we have to have one or the other. Why can't we have both?
That's true. That's a very good.
Because it is something that is needed, and we still have to be able to get our wants and our needs. Because I don't even think we're getting our wants. We're getting our we still getting our needs.
Well,
and our needs.
the question, of course, is limited resources, and with the limited resources, I could want a really, I guess, not a Mercedes, but I could want a Benz, but right now I can just afford a Subaru, and that's what I'm
And
going
that's
to.
why I say that we're not even getting our wants.
Limited resources.
We're not really getting our wants. We're still getting our needs, because the African Museum.
Is that a need or a want?
No, it's a need. We have to be able to tell our story, and we don't have one. So this is the discussion my group, my friends, we've been having, and we all agree that it is a need to be able to tell our history, keep our history, someplace to have it documented, and to be shown. Yeah, it is definitely a need.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I think it might be, I might debate that to say, as I look at things from a Maslow hierarchy of basic needs being taken care of before, and that this seems to be more, I won't say self-actualizing, but it may be more somewhere in the middle of with the STEAM needs, but
Because
I don't know. That's something we can talk about.
Well, look at it like this. She got the traction. She got the votes. I believe she have the money, or
Mhm.
half the
I
money.
think it's a go. It's a project that
Yeah,
I believe, from what I
half
could
the
tell,
money.
it's a
So
go.
the time is now. And I know it's been something that has been in the works for many years. And so the time is now.
The one thing that I will say, and you're right, the time is now, so we'll move forward with that. But the one thing I will note is Wastel
Yeah,
on the county commission.
yeah,
He's the
he was against it.
one elected,
I was
but
gonna
he's
say,
also the one that went after um my brother. He's also the one that yeah,
Jarvis.
that
Yeah, Jarvis
tried to
Alameda.
pull the contract based on a comment by Elamine. So Wastel is following the playbook here
Yes.
locally. And I think that's what I want people to understand is people that you see, that you touch, that you may talk to, um, are actually following a playbook, and you can tell by their policies and their votes and the things that they will discuss and what have you. And it's one of the reasons too. While I just want to use this as an example of why, when you vote, especially in nonpartisan races, that you really pay attention to who put them there, and why are they there, what's going on in their history. You can find it if you look, because this is how important it is.
But
He table.
we also have Gwen, Commissioner Myers, and Harry
Harry.
voting sometimes, and not sometimes, a lot of times with the Republicans,
Mm-hmm.
that the community sometimes doesn't feel they should have. As the Republicans tend to hold the line, I would say 95% of the time, Democrats do not. We tend to give in to, we think, to help move the situation along instead of holding out or convincing them to move over to their side.
Okay, I think there's some truth to what you just said, and it is very irritating
Mm-hmm.
with not knowing enough information as to what are the backroom deals that are being made.
Sure.
I
And
don't know.
I don't either. I don't really follow county commission. Dave Coleman is my person. I just catch him on Facebook, whatever he says. But I know, and sometimes I think it's a little harsh, or he's only two people I really see him talk about is Wosel and Gwen Myers.
Mhm. Well, I think their aides may be making deals and whatever else that, I'll vote with you if you do what I do not know, but I do believe that, and this is true for all politicians, that if they're going in there to represent you, Trump's, my way or the highway is not the way that politics runs.
Right.
And we need to, and that's going to be true of Naya as well, that the best thing that she could do is when she comes into the community and starts talking about why she votes the way that she votes, that she's pretty clear on what her path and what she's working on. Because some of the votes are going to seem a little bit strange,
Oh,
as
absolutely.
they do with Gwen.
Did you
But
see her debut on Thursday? I watched it online, and she did well. She
I
asked
did not see.
she asked the right questions. It was a really major
I'm gonna
uh,
watch it, but I did
vote
not
that they had to vote on that had been going on for
see the
and I think
ferry.
she voted correctly, asked the right questions. I think she's going to do well.
The ferry was. I know they did the ferry. Anything
I didn't
other?
see the ferry. It was something about who owns some land in I think it was in South Tampa, and they've been talking about this. I know last year,
Mhm.
maybe I definitely know last year and it could have been the year before. And so she just got the end of that deal, but she was able, looked like she did the research, caught up quickly, asked the questions, and
Yay.
yeah, she did. She's going to do well. It's a lot of reading, a lot of research. I think she'll be okay.
I'm hoping that she does do well, and yeah, I'll make a point of watching her debut, as you say. So
Yes, yes.
pretty cool.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Now, I was going to say, who are the candidates that's going to be coming up?
Not very many. I think Cohen is there, but he's unopposed at the moment. He's just him.
And I believe now no one should run unopposed. This man has now been on city council for 8 years. No, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody should run unopposed, because then they believe that they're not here to work for the people. They don't have to answer to the people.
Yeah.
So definitely not. He's not my favorite anyway.
Yeah, not everybody has filed yet, because I think it was a little early, so I didn't see too many.
I didn't check. So okay, so he's unopposed. Well, all right, give us a breakdown.
I'm actually going from memory, but right now I'm gonna just do that thing. Supervisor of elections, Hillsborough County, candidates. Come on, here. Just give me a minute. Candidates and committees. Candidate campaign records. I think that's it. Nope. Sorry, I'm not finding it as quickly as I could.
Well, we don't have to.
Yeah, let's do that for another time when I think a few more have signed up. But I think that several incumbent Democrats, including Guido Maniscalco and Lynn Hurtek, are expected to seek re-election. Yay, Lynn. I really like Lynn Hurtek and her style. She probably should not be unopposed as well, but I think she's going to do fine in any re-election.
So can she, or she's going to run for the same seat, or has she turned out? You know? You don't know?
No, I do not know. I did not see her listed in the people
Because
that
it looked like she would be turned out, because I remember her in Orlando was there. I'm not sure. We'll figure that out. We'll come back to it.
Well, I just want to see a lot of the younger candidates or challengers coming up from, I would say, community groups, HBCU networks, and civic nonprofits. It's the same dynamic we're seeing nationally. A rising generation ready to lead, frustrated with bureaucracy and unafraid to challenge tradition. And I think the more Trump does, the more you're going to see young people starting to stand up.
And particularly for Black voters, this is really a time to pay attention to our local turnout rates that can, decide the direction of this city. We're going to have to make sure that, and particularly, we always say this when the family get together for Thanksgiving, that we should make sure everyone, and I don't know if you could register at 17 and then you can't vote till you're 18. I believe it's something like that. We have to make sure.
Something like that. That's true.
Yeah. And we need to make sure all of our kids are registered to vote. Because we are going to have to get our numbers up if we're going to be in this fight.
Yeah.
if we want the direction of this city of housing, even our CRA funding, small business investment, which we're seeing, not really seeing manifest inside of East Tampa,
Mm-hmm.
even our educational partnership.
Mm-hmm.
We did a great show last week about homeschooling and options into charter schools. But the groundwork laid in 2024 and 2025 will determine how strong our our political voice will be in 2026, I believe. And
Yeah.
we can't wait right up to election. Even like Quentin Robinson, he's been asking, and I think with how we could help the young people. He's been
Mm-hmm.
asking, and I got to ask him how he's doing with the petitions. He's trying to get petitions so he don't have to pay whatever that fee is to file.
Right.
Our community alone should be able to do that. Whether you're going to support him or not, I like preachers should say, "Hey,
Sure.
man, you could put so many of these into our church, and we'll make sure that um, our congregation sign this petition to help him out."
Uh,
That's what that how that's going to look, I believe.
so the only thing I can say to that, Mona, is y'all, if a young person comes up to you and say they are running for office and they need you to sign a petition, it's not going to take you but a minute, minute and a half at the most. Get it signed. It's that important. It's what, how much? $4,500?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, less than 5,000.
All right, so less than $5,000, but you know that amount can keep young people out of the race. And I'm telling you, we've got some good young people that are getting in. Mondami got in, but he got help
Yes.
from the city of from New York City. They have a way of financing campaigns that even allow people who ordinarily couldn't afford it to actually get in. And look, he won. So this is our way of saying to young people, we want you to get in there and compete. So I'm saying to you, sign the petition. Even if you don't plan to vote for Quentin Robinson in this case, sign the petition, folks.
Or anybody who wants to try to qualify by petitions. We could sign all of them because you can sign multiple ones, right? So
That's true. As many as you possibly can. Sign the petitions.
Absolutely.
It's not going to hurt.
Because they're going to come up with the $5,000 for someone like him going up against a qualified incumbent. He's not going to have the money, and even if he do, he needs those $5,000 when every little dollar counts for something else.
Yeah, I'm aware of other young people that are actually going to be running for things like mayor and what have you.
Yeah.
Sign the petition, folks. If for nothing else, they're getting the experience that I think they'll need for a run even later. Sign the petition so that they can have that experience. And lo and behold, who knows? They may actually win the seat because the trends right now are in their favor. They're going in their favor. So here's my message to the Black voters of Tampa. Don't wait until election season. Just do not wait. We have less than a year now before we vote in 2026. What happens in 2026, therefore, starts right now. Starts right now. So get registered, talk to your neighbors, and get behind candidates who speak to our lived reality. Not just the ones with name recognition. Mona, I saw this. Oops. I always go periodically and check what the voter registration looks like. And I did put this one out about a month ago, 10/16, where the Democrats, Republicans, and other. Now, it's very clear that the Republicans have the numbers. You know, they're about what, 70, 80, 90, somewhere around. Yeah, somewhere around 20,000.
20,000 more voters.
Right. the Democrats at 271 in last month is not too far away, even from the MPAs and independents.
Right.
But when we look a whole month later, we're looking at all three categories are moving up ever so incrementally, very small. But where are these new voters coming from? Somebody must be out there knocking on some doors. We need to do better. We need to see these numbers, especially in the Democrats and my favorite, the independent or the other section, grow exponentially. Exponentially. We have got to grow these numbers. I think we should focus on surpassing the Republicans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But
We can do it.
I'm still getting pushback because people want to, like, we're independent. And if you want to vote in the primary, still as of now, you either have to be a Republican or a Democrat, or you have to switch your vote,
Right.
which I do. But it used to be able, we could do it from online, but we can't do that anymore. So how are we gonna what do you think we should be telling our young people
To whether
as far as registering as independent or Democrats?
I think they should go with their conscience.
I still say independent because Democrats just really expect you to vote for them.
I think their conscience will probably lead them to independent, but
Okay.
I would say I'm an independent, and I'm recently an independent. Heck, Miss Patterson's an independent now. So, and I'll share that, but then I will say, go vote, go register with your conscience. I believe more and more young people are voting or are registering, independent, not necessarily Democrat. And I think that's a trend across the country.
Yes, yes. I think so too.
But
Because
coercing them and trying to get them to do is probably the wrong approach, in my opinion.
sure. I sent you a text message. If you could, I don't know, can you put that live?
I cannot because
Yes, because I don't know how to do it either. Don't worry about it.
The reason that I can is I'd have to go to StreamYard on my phone. But if you were an Apple person, I could just pull it up because it would be on my laptop and I could just say, it will take me a few minutes because I would copy it and then send it to myself and it'll come into my laptop. What was the text message about?
I received that from the young guy who is running for mayor. I think he's 24, Alan. I can't think of Alan's name. Can you read it? Can you see it?
Oh no. Oh, you just sent it.
I just sent it to you.
Oh yeah, you just sent. Wow, this is nice.
But the font's on it and it's all that white. I can't see a thing, right? So I can't really see it.
Mm-hmm. Let's see if it came to me in download. I just downloaded it. And
see, that's a young man, very smart young man. We say we want young. I want to see how far he's going to go. He's running for mayor.
Mm-hmm. Look at me. I just got that. I just did this really fast. Watch. Image file. All right. We will not be deterred. Open.
We have to learn how to also bring up.
Is that what you want?
Yes.
All right. So his name is Alan Henderson. Tell us about him. He's running for mayor.
He's running for mayor. I think he's like 24, 25, 26. He's young.
Mm-hmm. I think I saw him once.
I've been seeing him out and about. So he's really doing his thing. He has a very young crowd behind him. Oh yeah, you. I think we first met him at the Martin Luther King parade.
Yes, we
Yes,
did. That is where it was.
yes, last year.
So he's doing a campaign launch party on November. Oh, he's already done it.
No, I think it's this
Oh, it's
Friday.
the 14th. It does say it's November 14th at the Egyptian Shriners Club. Man, I haven't been over there in a long time.
I won't be in town on the 16th, so I told him I would pass it on, and I just thought about it because I haven't passed it on, so I thought about it.
You, my dear, just passed it on.
I just
Very
passed it.
nice.
Yeah.
So, folks, again, he's likely doing the petition, or do you know?
I'm sure he is.
All right. So there's
I don't.
another young black male that will likely be doing the petitions. This one, Alan Henderson, is running for mayor.
And now it reminds me of, he just reminds me of Levon, the
King.
guy 4 years ago, I think it was, or 8 years ago when he was running for
Yeah,
mayor.
that was Levon King.
Yes.
Mhm.
Very, very, very smart guy.
Yeah. He became my friend as a result of that run because I was that
Yeah.
impressed with him.
I think a lot of people, mine's too. I was very impressed. And I, even if he didn't make it as mayor, I just think the city and even us as a community failed not to embrace him and bring and use his mind. He's been everywhere. He is a very, and I hope whoever becomes the mayor, if it's not Alan, that they
Mhm.
use these young talent.
Yes. Let's hope that does occur. I haven't seen anybody who's filed for the mayor, running for mayor at this point. But we're gonna
Well,
have
the
to.
only person I've heard of is Bill Carson. I think it's just Bill Carson. Listen, we have a few comments. Well, we have Connie Gregory.
Before you do that, Bill Carlson, yes, but also Gary Hart.
Oh,
No?
Gary Hartfield.
Hartfield, yes. Gary Hartfield is also indicated that he is wanting to run. All right.
Okay. Well, cool. We'll have two black men. Although I don't really like symbolism anymore. I want to look at people's platform, and I want to know what you have already done. So yeah, it's going to be good. Let's read the comments. You read the comment from YouTube, and then we'll answer Connie questions.
All right. So Kevin Maurice Beckham, exactly. Mona Wastel got up there talking about sidewalk. Black people can't have anything until we get all the sidewalks fixed. What's up with that? Is what he's saying, and he's right.
Yeah, that's why I said. That's why I say I think we could have both. Okay,
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Fair Oaks. It is almost as if, okay, District 5, you got Fair Oaks. You Negroes ain't getting nothing else.
Yeah, they try to appease us.
Yeah. We definitely have to push back against that because Fair Oaks should have been done almost 15, 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to make sure that not only Fair Oaks, the rest of the parks and all the other things that we need and some of the things that we just want.
Right. I used to work at Fair Oaks in the 70s when I was in maybe during the summertime coming home from college. Before they tore it down and whatever they're doing over there, it looked exactly the same as it did when I used to work there when I would come home for the summer.
Yeah. I remember when Yvette Lewis, the president of the NAACP, Yvette Lewis, when she got on that mission to push for Fair Oaks just to be upgraded, not
Mhm.
even really to have what
It's
they
crazy.
have, to have what they have now. And I'll never forget that interview she did, and she said, and I can remember because my brother played football at that park. You know, it wasn't a
Mhm.
park that we went to because our neighborhood had William Park, but we used to have to go over there to pick him up.
Uh-huh.
But she said that park looked the same when she did that interview as when
Yeah.
she was a kid.
Yeah.
Unacceptable. And we supposed to be ever so grateful for the next 20 years because they finally did. And it's beautiful. I
And that's
passed
the issue. It is beautiful.
I
But that
passed by it the other day, and
uh-huh.
oh my God, it's huge. It's the
It
and I
is.
think the curb appeal is just everything. Whoever did the landscaping, it is gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. And I think that for the businesses in that are surrounding that area, like M&R Catering right there
Yeah.
on the corner of Osborne, I'm like, oh yes, this is going to be good for them as well.
Yeah.
Um,
That whole corner, we
we can't
need to do a facade upgrade. That whole that corner
I
on all four sides.
totally has to happen, but we need to be careful for them not to feel like we ought to be grateful because we got something,
Yeah, no,
which is the point that you just made.
yeah,
I think that is going to be coming because that is what also happened with the skill center. We need money to do a mural, but then they're kind of saying, you already got money, you ought to be grateful. It's like Black folks need to reject any of those kinds of responses when we go ask for money to upgrade East Tampa
or they
or
still need
self-restraint.
money to sustain and to continue to do the work. Just because you got money, they've spent that money, they still need annual
I'm
funds.
still I'm still comparing East Tampa to Tampa Heights,
Sure,
to Hyde Park,
sure.
to Channelside. Please do not come to me saying you ought to be grateful you got whatever.
Yeah.
So
No,
anyway,
yeah, no.
Kevin also reminded us that it's Alan Henderson, but we got that with your flyer. So thank you so much, Kevin. I think that's the two comments we got there. Did you get any on Facebook?
Yeah, Connie Burton, and to read, she's made a couple of them, and to read them, I was like, oh, we just should bring her on and let her read it. But I don't know if we know how to do this or have a discussion um, to come on. She said the issue of code enforcement is changing within the city government. Now you didn't do anything. I don't know what she mean about that. And
Mhm.
this code enforcement is going to be a huge issue because as we see it, and as I see it, when I was on the CRA, I can remember when we got a list of houses that the city was either trying to take the people abandoned property
Mhm.
or basically take the property. And I said, let's reach out to the people. If they don't want to build on the property, we should be able to pay them fair market price for that land
Mhm.
instead of taking it for bike taxes, because somebody dies, that kind of stuff,
Right,
Uh,
right.
to me, that's just land stealing, land, and what they do all the time anyway.
Okay.
Um, so we have to doing that. She
I
wrote,
agree with you. I think it is land theft
yeah,
from Black folks. Go
for
ahead.
white folks, right? Being young is great, but I prefer young with knowledge. Yeah, I agree with that. Most elderly people come to government meetings. Oh, don't come to government meetings, let alone young people. Little investment in the political process. True. The mayor candidate in New York has been doing the work. He had worked on staying off for housing eviction. Oh, yes, he did. But this guy, he's different because he was in the state legislation. So
Who?
he was Mandani.
He was in the state legislature. Okay.
Yeah, so he was, familiar with politics.
Okay.
So that's true. The Democratic victory came as a result of speaking to the issues of the people. Trump victory was a result of racism and racial distress. Absolutely.
But he was speaking, wait a minute. Very true. But he
Yes.
was speaking to the issues of his people.
His,
And
well,
his
well,
people.
well, his people thought he was speaking to their issues because I would
Oh,
like to say about
okay.
60% of them now have buyer's regret.
But he was speaking to their issue because what they were not paying attention to was that many of them needed SNAP benefits and health care and well, insurance, what have you. So he was speaking to racism, and
Yes.
that's what they prioritized over
Yes.
those basic things. And they thought they
He
could
was
hide
speaking to their inner
behind.
He was
Right.
speaking
So,
to their
so
inner
he
hate.
spoke to that, and they ignored those other things, thinking that was, well, it's going to hurt the Black people more, is what they said. And come to find out, you're right. They are having buyer's regret.
Mhm, mhm. And they're
Buyer's
gonna
remorse. Yeah, they are
Mhm.
having that
either one.
because
Buyer's remorse.
it's starting to hurt, and they're starting to get hungry. But
They
yeah,
realize
I
they
agree
have
with.
purchased a lemon, okay,
But
and you can't return it. You're gonna have
right,
to
but
deal with it.
I agree with the commenter that candidates that win speak to the issues that are important to the people.
Yeah.
And in both cases, that was the case.
Well, she said Democrats, and I think she was referring to the November the 4th blue wave.
Yeah.
The Democrats were speaking to the issues, and the Republicans were speaking to racism still. Because even in that race in New Jersey, and that
Mhm.
woman, the Black lady, and she says,
The
"Hey,
Black
I'm a Black woman," and I said,
Winston. Okay, say her name. Winsome Sears. People need to remember her. Yeah, because she totally.
Well, I think she's done, so we don't have to remember her. She is
I know,
done.
but go ahead and say what you were about to say in terms of what she expected. She actually expected
She
that.
actually expected Black Democrats to get behind her. She even
Right.
said that the NAACP should have supported her. Barack Obama should have supported her. And we're like, lady, is you crazy? Even if these people would have supported you, Black people not going to switch aisles to vote for a Black Republican. And it's just not a Black Republican. You are a MAGA Republican. You just not.
She's a MAGA. Yeah.
Yes. You are batshit crazy.
And
Every
that's
time
true.
I heard her.
And that's true for MAGA Republicans who run for office.
Yeah.
Do not expect Black support.
And really don't even really moving forward expect
Unless
white Republicans, the majority of them.
Oh, that's true too, because they really don't want you to be in office.
But they don't need you anymore. They're able to say whatever they want to say. They was using you guys, and they just and it's going to be really interesting to see how Byron Johnson fare out. Donaldson, who's running for governor.
Is. Right now, he's supposedly the front runner, and that's going to be interesting. Oh, Jerry Demings just had his.
That's going to be my guy.
He had his launch party, and I'd listened to his speech. He was a little underwhelming, and let me say this: he could be my guy, but he was not over. I mean, there was.
So
between very old guard, he seemed
Yes.
very old guard.
Yes.
And he's going to have to shore that up because he was not exciting. That was very much what I would expect from established Democrat. And I don't think he can win like that.
So yeah, so I know him. He and my grandfather, good friends.
All right, I get the whole good friends thing. Yes, but
You know, I don't really care about friends. I don't do that. But you
I
know,
know you don't, but I'm
look
just
at
saying
Charlie. But look
another
at
one.
what's the option so far? So far, he will be my top pick because Charlie was once a Republican. He will always be a Republican.
I agree, Jolly's not the answer either, but so far Democrats don't really have, and that includes your dear friend
He's
Deming.
Well, he's
He
not my
has
dear
not,
friend, but I mean, I know
but
him.
he's underwhelming, and I just feel like we talked about it all tonight. There's a
Well,
shift.
we're gonna have to put some fire under him. That's all.
There's a
See,
shift happening, and he needs to stop looking very old school. I was like, oh my God, I really want to say yay. And all I did was I
you
took the
couldn't do it.
post, I posted and I said, hey, Jerry Deming is running. He's launched. This is his launch. Listen to the speech. What y'all think? I didn't
You
even put what I thought. I just
you
put
post.
what,
I didn't even see it, so I'm gonna have to find
yeah,
it.
I just said what y'all think. And it was like I couldn't, because I thought I must mention it tomorrow that he was very underwhelming. And I just think he has got to figure that out.
Okay.
Because I'm still waiting for that candidate that I would want to get behind. And as a
Have
Black
Jolly,
independent, I haven't seen it yet.
have Jolly made a statement or anything? I've heard him speak.
I don't really know. I'm very familiar with Jolly, and I'm not big on Republicans going to Democrat
Mhm.
and trying to be the spokesperson for the party.
Right, and I'm
So
like, that's who we have to pick from. Come on. So I really wasn't moved on that one, but I do know, and this is what Democrats understand.
mhm.
As a Democrat, and for most independents, particularly blacks, we're not going to vote for the Republican.
I understand that.
So they don't really have to give us good choices. The first race when Andrew Gillum was in, those were good races.
Mhm.
You had candidates, you had people to choose from, people was excited. So I'm hoping that's what happened this time around as well.
Hey, we're gonna need to close because it is 7:52, and you know I don't want to work any harder than I have to.
Yes, yes.
So let's do our usual closing. I already said, go register, talk to your neighbors, and folks, you're going to have to hit the ground running right now today. Election is in less than a year. It will be critical that we take the House, take the Senate, and I'm not sure what we can do from a state standpoint, but I do know here locally we can make a difference even on those councils and commissions. But in the governor. So we need to grow those numbers in terms of Democrats and Black independents. Yes, I'm saying Democrats. Those of you who need to be a Democrat, do the Democrat. But Black independents, the only way that you're really going to have a voice with the Democrats, a real voice, is not being at the bottom of the Democrat level where they're just not paying attention to what your needs are. And that's why I moved to the Black independent, but I'm like Black Twitter, Black independent.
Yes.
All right.
Listen, power isn't given, it's organized. And when we show up in numbers, wow, we don't just vote people in, we could also set the agenda for what's next to come.
And I am.
We got to get our numbers up.
I am all about setting the agenda going forward. So if you're watching tonight, I need you to like us on Facebook at We Are Black Independent. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, We Are Black Independent. And please share this episode. And I will be getting out some short clips within the next couple of days. But help us grow this movement and keep our community informed. We have less than a year to mobilize.
Jeanette,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just thinking. We didn't do
You have 6 minutes to think.
our ads.
I know we didn't, but we're going to have to do them next time.
Okay. All right. Good night. We're still working on this. We're still working on this, guy. This
Yeah,
is episode what, 30?
we are on episode 30. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So we shall